Matthew is a grassroots organizer and climate activist with the Southeast Alaska Conservation Council. He calls the lands and waters of Southeast Alaska home. He's here to talk about forests. You have some beautiful, incredibly beautiful, valuable, and fragile ones. Looking forward to hearing from you, Matthew.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you to all the other amazing panelists. It's a hard act to follow after so many great speakers, but my name is Matthew Jackson. I'm tuning in from Aquan territory down here in Tlinkitani, what is sometimes called Southeast Alaska or the Tongass. And this place has always been my home, and I hope that the next 500 generations have the same opportunities to enjoy and care for this land as I have. But as Jackie and many other speakers alluded to, whether or not that's even possible is up to us who are here today. So thank you all of you for being here. At 17 million acres, the Tongass is the beating heart of this great temperate rainforest that stretches up from Prince William Sound in Alaska down to Northern California. If North America had lungs, they'd be the giant spruce and hemlock trees of the Tongass, which account for 8% of all the CO2 sequestered in all US forests, more than any other national park or piece of public lands. But it's also more than just a powerful carbon sink. The Tongass is the economic life force of my home. Millions of visitors come every year to visit this wild corner of the world, and tens of millions, hundreds of millions more salmon spawn every summer in the shade of those same spruce and hemlock trees. And more than that, for millennia, the Tlingit people have sustained and been sustained by this land. The only reason we have a Tongass to protect is because of their stewardship. And so it's hard to reduce these kinds of relationships, chemical, economic, cultural, down to just a few policies or administrative actions. But here in Tlinkitani, we are very excited for the Biden administration to be taking the helm of the Forest Service, because if the Tongass is going to continue sequestering the carbon that our world needs to be sequestered, if it's going to continue to feed our economies and power our communities, then we're in need of a rapid change in the way the Forest Service administers it and all other national forests. And the highest priority here in the Tongass is reinstating the roadless rule. This rule has protected 9 million acres of the national forest and millions of tons of carbon annually from unnecessary development, but it was just recently overturned in the face of massive public opposition. Southeast Alaskans have overwhelmingly demanded that the roadless rule be upheld. More than 96% of more than 400,000 public comments were in favor of upholding the rule. That's a remarkable level of support for any issue in America. Can you think of anything else that has 96% support? Yet the outgoing administration callously disregarded that unanimous opposition and repealed the roadless rule. And so we here in Southeast Alaska, tribes, fishermen, and everyone in our communities, we are eager to make our voices heard where so recently they've been ignored. But reinstating the roadless rule is just the beginning, the bare minimum necessity to transition the Tongass forward into a carbon sink and a sustainable economic engine. There's many other issues like ending old growth logging, ending raw log exports, catching up on maintenance backlogs, and improving fish and wildlife habitat that we look forward to working with the Biden administration on. But moving forward, you've heard it again and again, there's one point that I must emphasize that the Forest Service and the rest of the new administration must do, and that is to do a better job of listening to tribes in order to avoid the costly boondoggles of the Trump administration. If the Forest Service is going to administer this land in a way that is effective and just, then it must learn from and listen to the first peoples of this land. Without government to government shared decision-making and even co-management with the tribes that have called the Tongass home for millennia, then the Forest Service, and by extension, all of us, the whole world, we're missing out on the best and the brightest, the oldest and the wisest voices on stewarding the Tongass for the next 500 generations. So we know that the Biden administration is going to be faithful partners in managing these public lands and the Tongass, which are first and foremost indigenous lands. And here in Southeast Alaska, we're so excited for that change of approach that the Tongass so desperately needs. And with that, I will pass the mic to the next speaker. Thank you everyone for listening and for everyone who's shared so much wisdom and knowledge with us tonight.